विशेष गरी लुम्बिनी प्रदेश अध्यक्ष एसटिएफसीको अध्यक्षको तर्फबाट हार्दिक नमन गर्दै कार्यक्रम अवधिभर सबैजना रहनुहुनेछ भन्ने आशा गर्दै सम्पूर्णलाई स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। हस्, धन्यवाद। जय एसटिएफसी।
धन्यवाद आदरणीय युवराज सर, धेरै खुसी देख्न पाइयो। सर अमेरिकातिरै हो कि यतै हुनुहुन्छ सर?
म अहिले यतै छु सर, म लगभग 8-10 दिन भयो त आएको, त्यही भएर म पनि ढिलो जोडी।
त्यही त होइन सर, एकदम खुसी लाग्छ।
भर्खरै आयो।
हस्
सर,
धन्यवाद आदरणीय लुम्बिनी प्रदेश अध्यक्षज्यू। साथीहरू, हामीले 5 दिनसम्म कार्यक्रम गर्दै गर्दा हामीसँग केही जिज्ञासाहरू, केही कन्फ्युजनहरू पनि भएका छन्। त्यसलाई हामीले भोलिदेखि चाहिँ इन्फर्मल रूपमा पनि त्यसको व्यवस्थापन गर्ने गरी अगाडि बढेछौँ र भोलिको हाम्रो सेड्युल तयार भइसकेको छ। हामीले सञ्जालमा पोस्ट पनि गरिसकेका छौँ। आज हामी ढिला नगरिकन अङ्ग्रेजीको बारेमा छलफल गर्छौँ। साथीहरूको केही जिज्ञासा छ भने त्यसलाई अहिले नोट गर्नु होला। पछि हामी छलफल सत्रमा साथीहरूको जिज्ञासा लिएर अगाडि बढेछौँ भन्दै आजको सहजीकरणका लागि आदरणीय देवी प्रसाद पण्डित सरलाई म चाहिँ स्क्रिन हस्तान्तरण गर्न चाहन्छु। देवी सर।
थ्याङ्क यू Kumar sir, respected chairperson Ghanshyam sir, similarly the chair STFT president Bhupati Basyal sir, General Secretary Dev Prasad Sharma sir, all the guests as well as all the teachers from the country. Warm welcome to you all in my today's session. Today we are going to share the ideas about internal assessment and external assessment, mainly 4 to 8 as well as 9 to 10. Let me share my screen. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Kumar,
yes, sir. Yes,
yes, please go ahead.
Is it shared, sir?
Yeah.
Is
yes,
the slide shared?
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, it's my short introduction. Most of you are familiar with me, I think so. Then today we are going to talk about assessment. Nowadays, assessment is taken as assessment as learning, assessment for learning, and assessment of learning. Do you have any ideas regarding them? In previous sessions, some of our experts, they discussed about the terms assessment as learning, assessment for learning, and assessment of learning. If you have idea, please share the ideas. Share the ideas in the chat box.
साथीहरु ह्यान्ड रेज गर्नुभयो भने हामी अप्सन दिनेछौँ।
What does assessment as learning mean? Then what does assessment for learning mean? Then what does assessment of learning mean? If you have idea, then you can share your ideas using chat box. In the past, assessment is taken as assessment of learning. It is just taken as measurement. Nowadays, assessment is taken as it is useful for learning. Nowadays, the concept of formative education, Kamal Adhikari sir, he has raised his hand. What is your opinion regarding these terms? Kamal sir?
Okay, sir.
Yes. Do you have any ideas about
learning?
that? Yes.
Yes, sir. What I have learned, I am going to tell about it, something about the statement, sir.
Yes.
Assessment of learning. First of all, we should assessment about idea. We should have idea about learning.
Yes.
Second, assessment for learning. Assessment is used for learning. It is used to learn something. And similarly, assessment as learning. It is the process of learning. When assessment give feedbacks, we give some feedbacks to the students or learner. Then after we get some ideas to learn something. It's my
Thank you,
view.
sir. Thank you, sir. Assessment as learning focuses on student, whereas assessment for learning that focuses on teacher, and assessment of learning that focuses on what? Learning. That focuses on assessment, that is related to measurement of learning in assessment of learning, whereas assessment for learning that is for teacher. The teacher can facilitate the students, the teacher can evaluate his teaching learning process in assessment for learning. Then assessment as learning, what happens? The students themselves can assess their learning.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then some useful points are given there. Assessment as learning. It helps students to take more responsibility for their learning and fix personal goals for further learning. Then assessment for learning, it is process of evidences for use by learners and their teachers to decide where the learners are in their learning. Then assessment of learning, it is an activity to measure, record and report a student's level of achievement with respect to specific learning expectation. Nowadays, these three terminologies are used. They are not fully sentenced, they are used. Then some more ideas about them, they are given in this slide. Assessment for learning. In assessment for learning, teachers use assessment as an investigative tool to find out as much as they can about what their students know and can do, and what confusions, preconceptions or gaps they might have. Then assessment as learning. Assessment as learning focuses on students and emphasizes assessment as a process of metacognition, knowledge of one's own thought processes for students. Students are personally monitoring what they are learning and use what they discover from the monitoring to make adjustment, adaptations, and even changes in their thinking. Assessment of learning. Assessment of learning refers to strategies designed to confirm what students know, demonstrate whether or not they have met curriculum outcomes or the goals of their individualized programs, or to certify proficiency and make decisions about students' future programs or placements. The short introduction about them are given there. Then student assessment in grade 4 to 8 on regular basis, and remedial teaching, both internal and external assessment. We talk about them. Then internal assessment. What are the areas of internal assessment? There are mainly 4 areas. The first one is participation. Under participation, there are 2 subheadings. One is attendance. For attendance, 2 marks is given. Similarly, students' performance in teaching learning activities, 2 marks is given for that. Then the second one is reading and writing. Each skill carries 50% weightage. 16 marks is given for reading and writing. Then another, listening and speaking. Each skill carries 50 weightage. Then the next one is terminal test. For terminal test, 10 marks is given for that. That is somehow similar to other subjects too. But regarding B and C, reading and writing and listening and speaking, project work is given for other subjects. For language, 4 skills are incorporated there. Do you have any confusion regarding this? 4 marks is for participation. Under participation, there are 2 subheadings. One is attendance and another is students' performance. Then the second one is reading and writing. Each skill carries 50 weightage, 50% weightage. 16 marks is given for that. Then next one, listening and speaking. Each skill carries 50% weightage. There are 5 different tasks for listening and speaking, 4 different tasks for reading and writing, and there are 2 terminal tests. Each carries 5 marks, or we can conduct other terminal tests too. But for terminal test, only 10 marks is given. Kamal sir raised his hand, I think so. Kamal sir.
Excuse me, sir. About under the reading, writing activities, what kind of activities we can do?
We will go the later, sir. We'll talk about them too.
Yes, sir.
Then the first one is participation. PAR is written there. PAR is written there. Participation of learners to be assessed on the basis of attendance and students' performance in teaching learning activities. Both carry 2 marks, which are assessed based on the following indicators. For attendance, if the attendance is 90% or above, then 2 marks should be given to him or her. Similarly, if the attendance is 85% to below 90%, then 1.5 marks should be given to him or her. Similarly, if the attendance is 80% or below 85% of attendance, then 1 mark should be given to him or her. Similarly, if the attendance is 75% below to 80% of attendance, then 0.5 marks should be given to him. That is about what attendance means. The students must have 70% above attendance to be to attend participation in external examination. The curriculum suggests us also. Then next, second one is students' performance in teaching learning activities. For that, 2 marks is given. If the student is very curious in learning, he or she has a thorough, frequent interaction in discussion, he or she can present his or her own creative views and ideas in all activities, he or she can complete the entire task oneself. In that situation, we can give 2 marks to him or her. If the student is curious in learning, or if he or she has frequent interaction in discussion, if he or she can present one creative views and ideas in most of the activities, or if he or she can complete the most of the tasks oneself, at that time we can give 1.5 mark. Similarly, the third situation is if the student is somehow curious in learning, or if he or she has some interaction in discussion, he or she can present views and ideas in some activities, or he or she can complete the partial tasks oneself or completes the tasks with other self. In that situation, we can give 1 mark. Or if he is less curious, or if he has less interaction, if he takes part partially in the activities, at that time we can give 0.5 marks to the students regarding students' performance in teaching learning activities. Do you have any queries regarding participation? There are 2 categories, 2 criteria. One is students' attendance and another is students' performance in teaching learning activities. Each criteria carries 2 marks. May I go to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Listening and speaking. Testing listening and speaking skill is included in the internal assessment. As per the curricular provision, teachers need to prepare listening and speaking tasks themselves, or they can use the tasks from the textbook so as to assess the student's performance. We can design the tasks with the help of textbook. It suggests so. assessing listening and speaking for internal assessment is an integral part of teaching learning process. It is part of assessment for learning. It does not assume to carry out a separate and different test. The teacher can design some additional task similar to the tasks given in the textbook and use those additional tasks for internal assessment purposes. However, it is mandatory for the teacher to maintain the portfolio. We should maintain the portfolio of the students, how and through which tasks they assess students for internal assessment purpose. While assessing, the tasks should cover the learning outcomes of the assessment period. Then the suggested tasks for testing listening and speaking skills are as follows. For listening to tasks, we have to design 2 tasks. For speaking, we have to design 2 tasks as well as another integrated task. Both listening and speaking should be addressed in integrated tasks. That should be 1 task. In this way, 5 different tasks should be designed for listening, speaking activities. Number of tasks, listening and speaking, 5 tasks. Each task carries 4 marks. Therefore, 20 marks should be given to listening and speaking. Then answer is here. For listening, we can design such tasks. The tasks are listen and say. The second task may be listen and write. Another task may be listen and draw. Then next task may be listen and follow. Then another task may be listen and act. Then next task may be listen and respond. From these different possible tasks, we can design only 2 tasks or accept them. These are some of the suggested tasks. Teacher can use other types of tasks as well. We can design other tasks ourselves too. We have to design 2 tasks for the students to assess listening skill. Do you have any confusion regarding this? Am I audible or not, sir?
Clearly audible, sir.
Then tasks. What type of tasks should be managed? Then what is the criteria? Then what are the descriptors or indicators? The first task may be listen and answer, or another task may be listen and say, another task may be listen and write. For those tasks, we can, the criteria is comprehension. Then if the student understand all the messages from the spoken text, at that time we can give 4 marks to the student. Then if the student understand most of the messages from the spoken text, then we can give 3 marks to him or her. Then next one, student understands some of the messages from the spoken text, but not all. In that situation, we can give 2 marks for him. In the same way, if the student understands few of the main ideas or details from the spoken text, in that situation, we can give 1 mark to the student. The suggested tasks are listen and answer, listen and say, listen and write. For them, we can give the mark in this way. Then other tasks may be listen and draw. Then next one, listen and follow. Then listen and act. That the criteria is following direction. In that situation, if a student follows all the direction instruction accurately, in that situation, we can give 4 marks to him or her. If the student follows most of the direction or instruction accurately, in that situation, we can give 3 marks to him or her. In the same way, if the student follows some of the direction or instruction, but not all, in that situation, we can give 2 marks to him. If the student tries to follow the direction or he cannot complete the direction or he cannot follow the whole directions or instruction, in that situation, we can give 1 mark. In this way, we can manage the marks for different listening activities. Similarly, the next task may be listen and respond. In that, the criteria is response. If the student gives completely appropriate and full responses, at that time we can give him or her 4 marks. Similarly, students gives mostly appropriate responses. In that situation, we can give 3 marks. If the student gives somehow appropriate responses, in that situation, we can give 2 marks. Then if students tries to give responses, but responses are not appropriate, in that situation, we can give 1 mark. If he tries to give response, at that time, we can give 1 mark. We are not allowed to give 0 mark to the student according to this guideline. These are different listening tasks. We can give marks according to those indicators. Then next, speaking tasks. We should manage 2 speaking tasks. The task may be picture description. The task may be topic description, people, place, object, etc. The task may be interview. The task may be narrating past events. In the same way, the task may be retelling the stories. Then the task may be act out or role play. Then presentation of project work. There are some suggested tasks. However, teacher can use many other types of tasks as well. We can use only 2 tasks, or we can give only 2 tasks to the students to assess speaking. Then the task. The first task is speaking task and project work presentation. The indicator is like that. Pronunciation, if the pronunciation is clear and appropriate, speech is smooth and the speed is normal. Similarly, vocabulary is correct and appropriate to the context. And if the grammar is accurate, in that situation, we can give 4 marks to him or her. Similarly, the second indicator is pronunciation is mostly clear and appropriate. Speech is mostly smooth and the speed is normal. Vocabulary is mostly correct and appropriate to the context. Then grammar is accurate most of the time and does not affect understanding. In that situation, we can give 3 marks to the student. Then next, pronunciation is somehow clear but needs improvement. Then speech is somehow smooth with some pause. Vocabulary is somewhat correct and appropriate. Vocabulary is limited and often inappropriate to the context. In that situation, we can give 2 marks. Then next one, pronunciation is inappropriate. Speech is slow and contains several pauses. Vocabulary is limited and often inappropriate to the context. Several grammatical errors make speech difficult to understand. In that situation, we can give 1 mark to the student. Then next, we have to design 2 listening tasks, 2 speaking tasks. Similarly, we have to design 1 integrated task. It carries 4 marks. In the integrated task, talking in relation to language functions or real situation, situational role play, act out, such activities can be designed for integrated tasks. This task should incorporate both listening and speaking skills. It is a combination of listening and speaking, or we should incorporate both listening and speaking skills in integrated tasks. Do you have any confusion regarding them? Yes, sir, ma'am. Am I audible or not? Kumar sir?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Are
sir.
you
Go ahead.
listening me or not?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Then for integrated tasks, listen, ask, and respond. If the student listens, initiates questions, and gives completely appropriate and full responses, in that situation, we can give 4 marks to the student. If students listen, initiates questions, and gives mostly appropriate responses, in that situation, we can give 3 marks. Similarly, If the student listens, initiate questions and give somewhat appropriate responses, in that situation we can give 2 marks to him or her. Similarly, if the student listens and tries to initiate questions and tries to give responses, but questions and responses are not appropriate, or if the students give incorrect responses, in that situation we can give 1 mark to him or her. They are related to listening and speaking test. Then next, another is reading. For reading, we have to design 4 different tasks. There are 2 different types of reading. One is for fluency and accuracy, another for oral and written. Reading aloud a text of about 100 words, that is for fluency and accuracy. Then reading comprehension and vocabulary, that is for oral and written. Teaching reading aims to develop different sub-skills of reading. Therefore, different aspects like accuracy, fluency, vocabulary, and reading comprehension are assessed in terms of reading. An English teacher can design tasks to assess these aspects and skills of reading. Any task or teacher designs should have 4 questions so that it can be marked 4. To assess the skills of fluency, accuracy, vocabulary, and reading comprehension, teacher will select a reading text, grade appropriate to the level, and design 4 questions based on it, which will carry 4 marks. The reading comprehension test can be designed based on the different types of reading text: story, brochure, biography, notice, letter, news stories, etc. The question types can be short answer questions, true, false, matching, fill in the blanks, multiple choice, ordering, etc. Like the question pattern of external exam. The questions should cover literal comprehension, reorganization, inference, and evaluation skills. Lower order skills to higher order skills. The general marking guideline is given herewith. The teacher may decide which aspect he or she will be assessing in students and use the marking guideline accordingly. The first one is reading aloud a text of about 100 words. The criteria is fluency. Then reading is smooth with appropriate expressions. At that time, we can give 4 marks to him or her. Then, if reading is mostly smooth with some expression, in that situation, we can give 3 marks to him or her. Then reading is somewhat smooth with limited expression. At the time, we can give 2 marks. Reading is slow with several pauses or disturbances. At the time, we can give 1 mark to him or her. Then next criteria is accuracy. If students can read the words in given text accurately, at that time we can give 4 marks to him. Similarly, if the student can read most of the words accurately, we can give him or her 3 marks. Similarly, students can read some word accurately, but not all. In that situation, we can give 2 marks. If student is unable to read most of the words accurately, at the time we can give 1 mark to him. Then next criteria is comprehension. Student is able to understand all the information in the given text. In that situation, we can give 4 marks. Student is able to understand most of the information in the given text. We can give 3 marks. Similarly, student is able to understand some parts of the text, but not all. We can give 2 marks to him or her. Similarly, student is able to understand very little of the text. In that situation, we can give 1 mark to him or her. That is all about reading comprehension. Similarly, we can test vocabulary in reading comprehension. Reading comprehension and vocabulary. If the student is able to understand all the words used in the text, at the time we can give 4 marks. If a student is able to understand most of the words used in the text, in that situation we can give 3 marks to him. Then if a student is able to understand some of the words used, but not all, we can give 2 marks to him. Similarly, a student is able to understand very few words used, In that situation, we can give 1 mark to him. In this way, we can assess their reading comprehension. Then next, writing tasks. 2 reading tasks. We can design 2 reading tasks as well as 2 writing tasks. We have to provide 2 writing tasks to the student. One is controlled or guided writing. There are different types of tasks we can manage. Under control and guided writing, developing story, form filling, dialogue, description of table, graph, diagram, etc. can be asked. Similarly, we can design free writing tasks too. Under it, we can design paragraph writing, letter writing, application writing, news story writing, essay writing, and so on. Similarly, we can manage project work to them. In this way, we can design several tasks, but we can ask 2 tasks to the student. There will be 2 writing tasks. One is controlled or guided writing, and another second one is free writing. The types of writing will be as per the types dealt in the teaching learning process during the period. What item are we teaching? Then we can manage such type of tasks to the students according to the textbook or curriculum. What different activities or tasks are suggested by the curriculum, we can design such tasks to assess students. Students' writing should be assessed in terms of content, structure, and organization. Then similarly, vocabulary and grammar, and spelling and pronunciation. Then how can we give mark to the students for writing tasks? Content, writing as relevant and sufficient content. Then structure and organization, writing as clear, structure and logical organization. Vocabulary and grammar, there is use of grade appropriate words. Grammar is accurate throughout the text. Then spelling and punctuation, there is accurate use of punctuation and spelling throughout the text. If students does such activities in their writing task, at the time we can manage for marks to him or her. Then next one, if students writing is mostly relevant and sufficient content, if writing is mostly clear structure and logical organization, if there is the use of grade appropriate words, grammar is accurate most of the time, then if punctuation and spelling is correct most of the time, at the time we can manage 3 marks to the student. Then writing is writing is some content but needs improvement. Writing has some structure but the organization needs improvement. There is use of some grade appropriate words and grammar is mostly accurate. And there are some errors in punctuation and spelling, at the time we can manage 2 marks to him or her. Similarly, the 4th indicator is writing lacks sufficient content and relevant ideas. Then another, writing lacks a clear structure and is difficult to understand. There is use of limited and often inappropriate words. Grammar is inaccurate. There are several errors in punctuation and spelling. In that situation, we can manage 1 mark for that writing. In this way, we can assess their writing activity too. They are for writing. Then next, it is mandatory for the teachers to maintain the record of tasks used for assessing students' performance so that it can be presented as portfolio or evidences when asked later. Then terminal text carries 10% marks. You are familiar with this. No need to describe about terminal test. I think so. General considerations in internal assessment, you are familiar with this. Then internal assessment record, we should manage record in this way. First or second terminal exam, we can write serial number, then next student's name, then participation 4 marks, 2 marks for attendance, 2 marks for participation in different activities. Then for listening and speaking, we have to design 5 different tasks. Each task carries 4 marks. 2 tasks are for listening, 2 tasks are for speaking, and 1 is for integrated skill. Then for reading and writing, we have to manage 4 different tasks, 2 tasks for reading, 2 tasks for writing. For terminal examination, we can give 10 marks or 10%. Total marks obtained, we can write the total mark here. Then obtained grade, we can write obtained grade there. In this way, we have to manage the internal assessment record. That's all about internal assessment related to 4 to 8 grades. Then we can manage, if we have designed so many assessment at that time, we can manage in that way too. That is given in curriculum 2. Assessment 1, participation, then reading, writing, listening, speaking. Then assessment 2, participation, reading, writing, listening, speaking. Assessment 3, we can manage different assessment for students. Then we have to write average marks. Then it should be multiplied by 0.8. Similarly, reading, writing average mark, that should be multiplied by 3.2. Then listening, speaking average mark, that should be multiplied by 4. In this way, we can keep the record. Sir, ma'am, do you have any queries regarding them? That is all about grade 4 to 8. Then if so, I'll go to next one. For grade 9, 10. Let me share my screen.
बद्री धमालाई
सर म्यामहरुको केही छ भने भन्नुस् है।
बद्री धमाला सरले के भन्न खोज्दै हुन्छ सर भन्नुस्।
सर नमस्कार हजुर।
नमस्कार सर।
हजुर त्यो लास्टको हाम्रो फर्म भर्ने जुन तरिका छ नि सर।
हजुर हजुर।
त्यसको बारेमा चाहिँ अलिकति जानकारी पाउनु हजुर।
ए हुन्छ सर।
हजुर। त्यही भनेर हजुर।
ए हुन्छ सर, हुन्छ, I will share that.
Okay sir.
Is it shared? Share भएको छैन कि?
No sir, no.
सरको जिज्ञासा यसैमा हैन सर? बाइ सरको हामीले टास्क चाहिँ जति पनि अर्गनाइज गर्न सक्छौं है। एसेसमेन्ट अहिले टर्मिनल एक्जाम हाम्रो 1 र 2 गरेका छौं नि, हामीले फर्स्ट टर्म र सेकेन्ड टर्म भन्छौं नि, त्यो मात्रै हैन, अरु पनि हामीले एक दुईटा थप्न नि सक्छौं टर्मिनल एक्जाम भन्छ, तर पर्सेन्टेज चाहिँ वेटेज चाहिँ
सर
हजुर
मोहन सरले के भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ एकछिन है, मैले उहाँलाई चाहिँ अप्सन दिन्छु। मोहन सर।
सर नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर।
यो पीआर एभरेज इन्टु 0.8 भन्ने छ नि, यो किन रहेछ?
यो चाहिँ ग्रेड पोइन्ट दिएको छ कि सर। ग्रेड पोइन्ट चाहिँ यसरी डिभाइड गरेको छ, हामीले ल्याउँछौं नि एभरेज, त्योबाट निकालेपछि जीपीए निकाल्न चाहिँ सजिलो होस् भनेर त्यो सूत्र नै उनीहरुले बनाएर राखेका छन्।
यो उतातिर 3.2 दिया छ रिडिङ राइटिङ को एभरेज।
हजुर।
अनि लिसनिङ को एभरेज चाहिँ 4 छ, त यो अलग अलग किन रहेछ भन्ने कुरा हो।
यसो छ नि, हाम्रो टास्क नि फरक छ, मार्क्स पनि फरक छ नि, याद गर्नु भएको छ? पार्टिसिपेसनमा हामीले जम्मा कति मार्क्स दिन्छौं? 4 मार्क्स दिन्छौं हो। रिडिङ राइटिङ कति मार्क्स दिन्छौं? 16 दिन्छौं। लिसनिङ स्पिकिङमा कति दिन्छौं हामीले? 20 दिन्छौं। त्यसैले त्यो मल्टिप्लाई गर्ने दिएको छ नि, त्यो फरक भएको चाहिँ तपाईको 4 मार्क्स बराबर 0.8 गरेको छ के?
सर यसको भन्न सक्छु सर?
हुन्छ
सर भन्नु त।
हजुर, यो यसमा अलिकति दुविधा पनि छ सर हैन। यो पाठ्यक्रममा हामीलाई चाहिँ 0.8, अब यो 0.8 किन राखेको हो भने हाम्रो रेटिङ स्केल 5 मा थियो हैन। हामीले 4 मार्क्सको पार्टिसिपेसन गर्दाखेरि
त्यसलाई डिभाइड बाई 5 गर्दाखेरि 0.8 आउँछ। त्यही भएर 5 4 3 2 1 भनेर योभन्दा पहिला 5 रेटिङ स्केलमा हामीले मार्किङ गर्नु पर्थ्यो हैन सर। अब अहिले आएर के भयो त भन्दाखेरि अस्ति अब 2 हप्ता पनि भएको छैन, अब त 4 मार्क्स मात्रै दिने, 4 अनि 3 2 र 1 भनेर दिने भनेर पछिल्लो चरणमा आएको छ। त्यही भएर अब यो 0.8 ले मल्टिप्लाई गर्यौं भने अब चाहिँ मिल्दैन होला सर। त्यही भएर अब मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि पहिलाको पाठ्यक्रमलाई आधार मान्ने कि अहिले भर्खरै जारी गरेको निर्देशिकालाई अथवा मापदण्डलाई आधार मान्ने। अब यसमा 0.8 आउनुको मुख्य कारण भनेको 5 रेटिङ स्केल भएर हो। अहिले चाहिँ 5 रेटिङ स्केल नभएर छुट्टै तरिकाको मापदण्ड उनीहरूले बनाएका छन् भने अब हामी चाहिँ कन्फ्युजनमा रह्यौं के सर। अब तपाईले एकछिन
करिकुलम र यसको चाहिँ यो निर्देशिकाको चाहिँ त्यो कुरो चाहिँ सरले भन्नुभयो बाजिया छ। जस्तै यहाँ चाहिँ सोचे राख्दै भन्छ हैन, यो रेटिङ स्केल जम्मा यसले चाहिँ 4 सम्म दिने भनेको छ नि त। 4
अहिले आएर 4 सम्म मात्रै दिने भन्ने चाहिँ मतलब पहिला 5 थियो हैन सर।
हजुर
त्यही भएर अब 4 डिभाइड बाइ 5 गर्दाखेरि 0.8 आउँछ। उतापट्टि अर्कोलाई पनि के अर्को 20 मा थियो, अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ 20 डिभाइड बाइ 5 हुने भयो। अर्को चाहिँ 16 हुँदाखेरि 16 डिभाइड बाइ 5 हुँदाखेरि त्यो चाहिँ 0 त्यो एभरेज इन्टु त्यति मार्क्स भनेर राखेको हो सर हैन। अब अहिले चाहिँ त्यो गर्न मिल्दैन कि जस्तो लाग्छ। हजुरको धारणा के छ? अब सबै सरहरूले कुरा राख्दाखेरि बेटर होला।
अहिलेको पछिल्लो चाहिँ यो मैले देखाइरहेको छु नि सर, त्यो चाहिँ मैले करिकुलमको कपी गरेर ल्याऊ हैन। पछिल्लोमा दिएको चाहिँ यो छ फर्स्ट टर्म र सेकेन्ड टर्मको लागि। अब यसलाई चाहिँ उन्नगर भन्छ हैन। पार्टिसिपेसनमा कति आयो एभरेज मार्क्स राखिदिने, लिसनिङ स्पिकिङमा कति आयो एभरेज राखिदिने, रिडिङ राइटिङमा एभरेज राखिदिने, टर्मिनलमा कति आयो टोटल मार्क्स राखिदिएपछि अनि अब्टेन्ड ग्रेड त्यहाँबाट हामीले निकाल्ने भन्ने किसिमको यो चाहिँ। हजुर
यो विषयमा पुण्य सर केही भन्दै हुनुहुन्छ? एकचोटि पुण्य सरको कुरा सुनाउनु सर।
हुन्छ सर।
पुण्य सर।
हजुर
ओके सर।
सम्पूर्णमा नमस्कार। अलिकति यहाँ जिज्ञासा उठिहाल्यो हैन सर। यो हामीले अहिले भनिराखेको कुरा जस्तो त्यहाँ चाहिँ परियोजना कार्य 5 वटा भनेको छ हैन सर।
हजुर
त्यो परियोजना कार्य 5 वटा गरेको हुँदा हामीले फोमा जुन पार्टिसिपेसन फोमा राखेको जुन पूर्णाङ्क छ त्यो पूर्णाङ्कलाई 5 वटा परियोजना कार्य गरिने हुँदा पूर्णाङ्क हाम्रो यहाँ 4 छ, पार्टिसिपेसन्सको परियोजना कार्य 5 वटा छ। त्यो अवस्थामा चाहिँ त्यसको जुन 4 डिभाइडेड 5 गर्दाखेरि 0.8 आएको भन्ने बुझिरहेछु सर मैले चाहिँ। त्यो चाहिँ हो। जस्तो यसलाई अलिकति यहाँ कसरी हेरौँ भने मैले थोरै स्क्रिन सेयर गर्न पाउने भए मैले बनाइरहेको छु त्यो फर्महरू।
हुन्छ सर, हुन्छ। मैले स्क्रिन सेयर अफ गर्ने सर।
ने सर हजुरले त्यो गर्दै गर्नु। एकचोटि यहाँ दामोदर सरको के हो लिउ सँगै सकिन्छ कि जस्तो लाग्छ है दामोदर सर। प्लिज
सर यो हैन अहिले सरले जुन पछिल्लो चोटि देखाउनु भयो नि यो 0.8 ले मल्टिप्लाई गर्ने एभरेजलाई भनेर, त्यो चाहिँ करिकुलमले भनेकै कुरालाई सरले यो देखाउनु भएको हो। तर अहिलेको यो आन्तरिक मूल्याङ्कन मापदण्डले चाहिँ 2080 ले चाहिँ 4 वटा मात्रै रेटिङ स्केल भनेको हुनाले हामीले 4 वटामा मात्रै गर्दा हुने। अब अस्ति भर्खर हामीले वार्षिक परीक्षा जुन चैतमा गर्यौं त्यति बेला चाहिँ हामीले मूल्याङ्कन गर्दाखेरि अहिले सरले देखाएको फर्म अनुसारै गरेको, 5 वटै रेटिङ स्केल राखेर गरेको। अब अहिले निर्देशिकाले चाहिँ 4 टा मात्रै भन्नु, त्यसकारणले त्यो पुरानो गर्न पर्दैन भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ।
ठिक छ सर, म यसलाई अलिकति क्लियर गर्छु। तर मलाई स्क्रिन सेयरको अप्सन पो भएन त सर।
ए सर भएन सर। ओके
हजुर
घनश्याम सर, पुण्य सरलाई को होस्ट दिनु सर।
गर्नु त सर, गर्नु त म यहाँ गर्दैछु।
ए हुन्छ
सर, हुन्छ सर, हुन्छ।
ल स्क्रिन आयो सर मेरो।
ओके सर, ओके आयो।
कहाँनिर छ है यो? मैले पनि आन्तरिक मूल्याङ्कन फर्म हामी इङ्ग्लिसमा छौँ भने सर अहिले।
हो सर,
इङ्ग्लिसको हेरौँ है त। यस्तै फोरममा रहेछ सर, हामी अलिकति क्लियर हुने र ठुलो छलफलबाट नै सही समाधान निस्किने हुँदा हाम्रो इङ्ग्लिस इभ्यालुएसन
सेकेन्डमा छ सर।
हामी यहाँ छौँ सर, यो चाहिँ यसमा छौँ हामी अहिले। हजुरले ठ्याक्कै अहिले देखाउनु भएको यो हो होइन सर? यहाँनिर हेरौँ है त, हाम्रो पार्टिसिपेसन्स 4, रिडिङ राइटिङ भनेको 16, यो मैले 4-8 को भनेर यहाँ देखाइरहेको छु। लिसनिङ स्पिकिङ भनेको हाम्रो चाहिँ अलिकति मैले यसो गरेँ ल 20 रहेछ नि सर। यसलाई के गरौँ भने जस्तो हाम्रो यो एसेसमेन्ट कतिवटा छन् यहाँ हेर्नुहोस् है त। यो एसेसमेन्टको लागि यो एउटा एसेसमेन्ट हो होइन सर? यहाँ 5वटा गर्न सकियो भनेपछि यसको टोटल पूर्णाङ्क भनेको त हाम्रो 4 हो नि त। 4 डिभाइडेड 5 गर्ने हो सर। यसलाई 5 गर्दाखेरि 4 डिभाइडेड 5 गरियो भने हाम्रो 0.8 आउँछ एभरेजमा। यो चाहिँ हो सर जुन त्यो रेटिङ स्केल भन्नुभयो नि हजुरले, रेटिङ स्केल भन्नुभयो अघि हजुरले। अब कसैले परियोजना कार्य 4वटा गरेको छ भने यहाँनिर 4 डिभाइडेड 4 हुने भयो क्या। कसैले 3वटा गरेको छ भने हजुर
सर
हजुर
यो चाहिँ यो पुरानो सरले भनेको ठिकै हो कि पुरानो पुरानो यो ग्रेडरले यो मूल्याङ्कनमा यही थियो होइन सर? अहिले देव सरले लास्टमा देखाएकै छ अहिलेको चाहिँ यो अहिले मैले त्यहाँ हेरेँ। यो चाहिँ के भन्छ सर, यो फुल मार्क्स 4 बनाउनको लागि चाहिने त्यो म्याथमेटिकल यो हो क्या, जो 0.8ले मल्टिप्लाई गर्यो भने म्याक्सिमम आउने मार्क्स चाहिँ 4 हुन्छ क्या। त्यसले मार्क्समा कन्भर्ट गर्नको लागि बनाएको यो फ्याक्टर हो क्या सर। यो 3.2 भनेको आर डबलमा जम्मा 16 आउनको लागि 3.2 जम्मा कति जम्मा म्याक्सिमम आउने त्यो रेटिङ अनुसार कति आउने हो त्यो फ्याक्टरले मल्टिप्लाई गर्दा ठ्याक्क 16 पुग्छ भरे त्यो म्याथमेटिकल फ्याक्टर हो सर यो। तर अब अहिलेको लागि यो परेन जस्तो लाग्छ।
अहिलेको लागि यो अलिकति मिलेन,
यो परेन
अहिलेको लागि मिलेन। तर देव सरले देखाउनु भएको त्यहाँ हजुर हजुर हजुर
सर पुण्य सर यहाँ अलिकति कुरा नि मैले पनि पहिला गरेको यो पुण्य सरले गरे जस्तै हो कि पहिला चाहिँ 5वटा रेटिङ स्केल हुँदा यही गरेको थियो। अहिले चाहिँ मैले भर्खरै मैले यहाँ म झापाबाट हो कि मैले भर्खरै यहाँ प्याप्सनको एउटा पालिकाको सरहरूसँग मैले यो ट्रेनिङ पनि सञ्चालन गरेको थिएँ। त्यति बेला चाहिँ मैले यो के गरेँ भने सरले भने जस्तै यो एसेसमेन्टहरू यसरी राख्यो, तर यहाँ जुन हामीले चाहिँ यो पार्टिसिपेसनमा 0.48 भन्यो उता 3.2 भन्यो नि त्यो नगरेर यहाँ आएको एभरेजलाई चाहिँ एभरेज त तपाईँले अब 3टा 4टा कतिवटा एसेसमेन्ट गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको एभरेज निकाल्ने अनि यहाँनिर टोटल गरेर त्यसलाई चाहिँ 4 + 36 20 र 16 गर्दा 40 गर्दा यहाँ 40 निकाल्दा हुन्छ क्या सर। यसलाई यहाँ फेरि यो पुरानो मेथड भयो सर। यो पुरानो मेथडलाई चेन्ज गर्नु
पुरानै हो सर। यो पुरानो मेथड हो ठ्याक्कै।
मैले चाहिँ बनाइसकेको छु सर हैन, यहाँ
1.76 आयो हजुर।
मैले चाहिँ बनाइसकेको छु सर। यसलाई चेन्ज गर्दिन सर। यो एभरेज गर्नुपर्छ यसरी, यो 0.8 गरेर यो मल्टिप्लाई गरिरहनु पर्दैन सर।
अहिलेको नयाँ करिकुलम के अरे नयाँ निर्देशिका अनुसार चाहिँ अलिकति त्यसलाई चेन्ज गर्नुपर्ने भएको छ।
यसलाई अलिकति चेन्ज गर्नुपर्ने छ सर, पुरानो भयो।
यसलाई सिधै डिभाइड बाइ 5 गर्दा 5वटा गरेछ भने 5 जति छ त्यति छ। अहिले लास्टमा देवसरले देखाउनु भयो नि
सर
हजुर यहाँ मिस्टेक भएर छ।
जतिवटा टास्क छ त्यति टास्कले डिभाइड गरिदिएपछि सबभन्दा सजिलो चाहिँ त्यो
पार्टिसिपेसन्सको मात्रै हामीले हेर्यौँ भने ठ्याक्कै अहिले यसमा अब ल 4 दिउँ, पार्टिसिपेसन्स यसमा हामी 2 दिउँ।
4 दिनु न सर, 4 दिनु न ट्याक्क
ल 4 दिएर हेरौँ है त।
त्यो एभरेजमा 4 आउँछ हैन, त्यसमा टोटल गर्दिनु न।
त्यो फ्याक्टर हो क्या त्यो चाहिँ ठ्याक्कै
हजुर।
कुनै भइहाल्यो
3.8 यो चाहिँ यसले 0. यो
अब यहाँ पनि 4 दिनु त सर, 4 दिनु त ठ्याक्कै
पनि हामी यो त एभरेज निकालेको हो सर उसले। यो 4 ठीक छ। अब यहाँ चाहिँ हाम्रो 1 हुनु पर्यो। यो गुणाङ्क चाहिँ हाम्रो ठ्याक्कै अहिले आएर
अब अहिले परेन होला,
अहिले परेन होला सायद। तर हामीले गर्न त यसै नै गर्छौं
सर। यहाँनेरि टोटलमा परेन कि यो एभरेजलाई चाहिँ यहाँ टोटलमा एक मुष्ट राखेर जोड्दिनु न। तीनटालाई एउटै कोलम बनाएर जोड्दिनु न। पार्टिसिपेसन, रिडिङ राइटिङ र लिसनिङ स्पिकिङलाई एक मुष्ट जोड्दिनु न त्यहाँ, अनि यता टर्मिनल एक्जामको राख्दिएपछि भइहाल्छ सर।
तर हामीले पार्टिसिपेसन्स र यो उसको त अलग अलग राख्नु पर्यो नि सर। प्रोजेक्ट वर्क र यो 16 र 20 त्यस पछाडि यो 4 को त अलग अलग इन्ट्री गर्नु पर्यो नि त।
पोर्टफोलियोमा त अलग अलग चाहियो,
अलग अलग हुन्छ सर। त्यो त तपाईको यहाँ एभरेजमा आइहाल्छ नि सर, त्यो एभरेज कोलममा आइहाल्छ नि।
अलग अलगै चाहिने हुन्छ सर। यो र यो पार्टिसिपेसन्सको अलगै हुनु पर्यो, यो र यसको टोटल चाहिँ यहाँ आउनु पर्यो सर।
ल ठिकै छ, देशसँग अगाडि बढौँ।
ल ठीक छ सर, ठीक छ, हुन्छ।
के हो भने सर हैन,
हजुर
यो अहिले अब पहिले र अहिलेकोमा त चेन्ज भयो। अब 0.8 चाहिँ गर्न मिल्दैन, बरु 1 चाहिँ गर्न मिल्छ। हजुर सरले एभरेज इन्टु 1 भन्नुभयो, त्यो चाहिँ
हो
गर्न
यो 1 चाहिँ गर्न अब पक्कै मिल्ला सर।
हो। अब हामीले एउटा मात्रै एसेसमेन्ट नगरेर एकभन्दा बढी एसेसमेन्ट गर्यौँ भने त 4 मै कन्भर्ट गर्दाखेरि त 1 गर्नु पर्यो।
हजुर
अब त्यसै गरेर 16 लाई गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ 4 ले मल्टिप्लाई गर्नु पर्यो र 20 लाई गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ 5 ले मल्टिप्लाई गर्नु पर्यो।
हजुर
अब
हजुर
मलाई चाहिँ
हजुर
त्यस्तो लाग्छ सर।
ल ठिक छ सर, हुन्छ।
देव सर अगाडि बढौँ।
अगाडि बढौँ सर।
धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद साथीहरूको आइडिया साथीहरूले नि सेयर गर्नुभएको छ। म अब थोरै लोवर सेकेन्ड्रीपट्टिको जान्छु है त, के अरे सरी 9-10 पट्टि जान्छु है त। यही चाहिँ अहिले दिएको चाहिँ हामीलाई
अहिले लेटर ग्रेडेड निर्देशिका पनि यही छ सर।
निर्देशिकाले चाहिँ यो दिएको छ, यही अनुसार
यही छ।
सजिलो पनि होला भन्ने मैले साथीहरूलाई सुझाव दिन्छु है। म आफैलाई पनि यो चाहिँ धेरै कम्फर्ट फिल भएको छ। अरू धेरै नाना थरीको लाग्नुभन्दा यतापट्टिबाट अलि सहज महसुस गरेको छु। थोरै यसले छेक्यो। म इन्टरनल एसेसमेन्ट 9-10 पट्टिको जान्छु। मा खासै त्यस्तो धेरै फरक छैन। पार्टिसिपेसनको घट्या छ, यहाँहरूलाई थाहा छँदैछ है। एटेन्डेन्सको 1 भएको छ, यहाँ मिस्टेक भएछ थोरै। एटेन्डेन्स 1, त्यस्तै स्टुडेन्ट्स पर्फर्मेन्स इन टिचिङ लर्निङ एक्टिभिटिज 2, वेटेज 3। सिमिलरली रिडिङ राइटिङ इच स्किल क्यारिज 50% weightage 8 marks. Listening speaking each carries 50% weightage 8 marks. Then terminal test 6 marks. यो चाहिँ 25 मा भयो। उता 48 चाहिँ 50 मा थियो भने हाम्रो 25% चाहिँ इन्टरनल एसेसमेन्ट छ यतापट्टि, त्यति हो। अब यो इन्डिकेटर 90% एन्ड अबोभ एटेन्डेन्स 1 mark, 85% to below 90% attendance 0.75 marks, 80% to below 85% of attendance 0.5 marks. Similarly 75% to below 80% of attendance 0.25. यो अरु विषयमा नि यही छ सर म्यामहरुको, केही दुविधा छैन होला जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई। स्टुडेन्ट पर्फर्मेन्स इन टिचिङ लर्निङ एक्टिभिटिज यो पनि त्यही हो। बी क्युरियस इन लर्निङ, interact in discussion, present views and ideas, complete the assigned tasks. If student does such activities at the time, we can give 2 marks to the student. If the student performs any 3 of the above tasks, at that time we can give 1.5 marks to him or her. Similarly, if the student performs any 2 of the above tasks, we can give 1 mark to him. And if the student performs any one or above tasks, at that time we can give 0.5 marks for performance in teaching learning activities. Then next, testing of listening skill included in internal assessment. As per the curricular provision, teachers need to prepare listening tasks themselves so as to assess the students' performance. Number of tasks for listening, 2 tasks. We have to give 2 tasks. Each task carries 4 marks. Therefore, 8 marks is given to listening tasks. There will be 2 listening tasks on 2 different sound files. Each task should consist of 4 questions. अब यो रुब्रिक चाहिँ अलिकति केयरफुल हुनुपर्छ है। क्वेशन बनाउँदा चाहिँ टास्क चाहिँ 4 मार्क्स को बनायो भने मार्क्स दिन सजिलो भयो। त्यही पनि यसले हामीलाई सजेस्ट पनि त्यही भन्छ, 4 वटा क्वेशन के टास्क बनाउनुस् भन्छ हैन। Types of sound file. The sound files may contain lectures, talks, presentations, radio and TV broadcast, podcast, commentaries, interviews, conversations, short discussion. There are different types of sound files. Note, the sound file should be authentic and clearly articulated. The students should clearly hear the sound, or it should be clearly articulated at normal speed of delivery. Each sound file should be a maximum of 3 minutes long. पहिला अलि लामो listening text दिन्थ्यो के अरे, अब चाहिँ एकदम छोटो भनेको छ हैन, 3 minutes long. The types of questions include multiple choice questions, matching, fill in the blanks, short answer questions, etc. अब यो मात्रै नभएर अल्टरनेटिभ टेस्ट मेथड फर स्टुडेन्ट्स विथ हियरिङ इम्पेयरमेन्ट, त्यसको लागि अल्टरनेटिभ पनि भनेको छ है. फर द हियरिङ इम्पेयर्ड स्टुडेन्ट्स एनी वान अफ द टास्क, प्याराग्राफ राइटिङ अन अ गिभन टपिक, writing a letter or writing a description of something can be given. If the student has hearing impairment, at that time we have to design another task for him. Then next, time 20 minutes for listening task. The record of the task and student's performance should be maintained in portfolios. त्यो अनुसारै पोर्टफोलियोमा राख्ने कुरो भयो. जम्मा 2टा टास्क मात्रै भयो हैन यसको लागि. Each task carries 4 marks. Then next, task listen comprehension. Students understand all the messages, all 4 answers from the spoken text. That is outstanding performance. For that, we can give 4 marks. Similarly, students understand most of the messages. Any 3 answers from the spoken text, at the time the students is proficient and we can give him or her 3 marks. Similarly, student understand some of the message, any 2 answers from the spoken text, but not all. That is basic. In that situation, we can give 2 marks. Then student doesn't understand any of the main ideas or details from the spoken text. That is below basic, and we can give 1 mark to him or her. Then next, the speaking test will be administered practically. The test starts with greeting and introduction to make the students feel comfortable. The speaking test consists of the following sections and tasks. First one is introduction and contextual interview or conversation describing pictures. That carries 4 marks. Then next, the teacher can use any one of the tasks, contextual interview or conversation or describing pictures. The students will be asked at least 4 questions on their personal affairs and immediate contextual situation. That is, situation created to respond using the exponents of language functions. They are given in the curriculum. How are you preparing for the exam? What will you study after grade 10? What's your aim in life? Do you like English? We can ask such questions to create a harmonious situation. Why or why not? How do you congratulate your friend for winning the speech contest, etc. Such type of questions can be asked. Instead of the above type of task, the students can also be asked to describe pictures. For this, the students will be given a picture or a set of pictures. They are expected to describe the picture or pictures in at least 8 sentences. In that situation, we can give 8 marks for that. 4 marks for that, for the answer. The time should be 10 to 15 minutes. Then alternative test method for the students with visual difficulties. For students with visual difficulties, ask them to narrate a sequence of events instead of task 2, describing pictures above. Alternative test method for the students with speech and hearing difficulties. For students with speech and hearing difficulties, give a reading comprehension task worth 8 marks. It will be assessed based on the given rubrics. The rubric is like this: speaking tasks and project work presentation. If the pronunciation is clear and appropriate, speech is smooth and speed is normal, vocabulary is correct and appropriate to the context, grammar is appropriate. In that situation, the performance is outstanding. Then we can give 4 marks to him or her. It is like the rubrics given in grade 4 to 8. त्यो 6-8 मा नि यस्तै कुरो गरेछ सर म्यामहरुले बुझ्नु हुन्छ होला जस्तो लाग्छ. यसलाई कसो गरौँ, जम्प गर्दा हुन्छ? यो क्लियर छ जस्तो लाग्छ किनकि हामीले अघि 4-8 मा नि we have discussed about them. कस्तो कस्तो
साथीको केही
अवस्था
छ भने एनरेज गर्न सोध्न सक्नुहुन्छ।
if you have any confusion you can ask by raising your hand. Surendra Sapota sir, do you have any queries regarding this?
Surendra sir, please.
Surendra sir.
Surendra sir.
What is the matter with Surendra sir?
Hello.
हजुर सर, हजुर सुनिएको छ सर।
हजुर नमस्कार नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर।
यो म भर्खर मात्र जोइन भएको थिएँ, यो खास के को बारेमा सर यसो भनिदिनु न भन्ने।
इन्टरनल एसेसमेन्ट इंग्लिशको के कसरी गर्ने भन्ने विषयमा हामी छलफल गरिरहेका छौं सर।
यस सर।
Then it is mandatory for the teachers to maintain the record of the tasks used for assessing students' performance so that it can be presented as portfolio or evidences when asked later. Terminal test, it carries 6 marks.
सर एकैछिन रोहित सरले के हो रोहित सर?
सर नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर।
सर एक दुईवटा स्लाइड अगाडि जानु त सर, एक दुईवटा स्लाइड अगाडि, अझै अगाडि, अझै सर, अब अगाडि। यो सुरु हुने बित्तिकै हो यो पक्नै सर, त्यो सुरु हुने बित्तिकै थियो नि यो 9-12 को चाहिँ।
हजुर
नि हजुरले रिडिङ र राइटिङ अनि लिसनिङ र स्पिकिङ राख्नु भएको थियो, तर वास्तवमा यसमा चाहिँ रिडिङ के अरे यो लिसनिङ टेस्ट र स्पिकिङ टेस्ट मात्रै छ निर्देशिकामा चाहिँ, यो 9-12 को चाहिँ। हजुर जानु त एक दुईवटा स्लाइड अगाडि, अझै अगाडि।
यही हो सर।
रिडिङ एन्ड राइटिङ हजुर हो, यही हो। यसमा फर्किन्छ सर। हो यसमा चाहिँ यो रिडिङ एन्ड राइटिङ भएर हजुरले 8 र लिसनिङ एन्ड स्पिकिङ हजुरले 8 राख्नु भएको छ, तर यो 9-12 को उसमा चाहिँ यो छैन, रिडिङ राइटिङ छैन। लिसनिङ टेस्ट 8 को छ अनि स्पिकिङ टेस्ट 8 को छ सर। मैले पनि त्यसरी नै बनाएँ, मलाई यहाँ कन्फ्युज भयो सर। निर्देशिकामा एकपल्ट हजुरले निर्देशिका एकपल्ट गर्नु हो भने त्यहाँ एकपल्ट गई हेर्नु न।
ए हुन्छ सर, हुन्छ, म त्यतापट्टि जान्छु। म यसो निर्देशिकापट्टि जान्छु है सर।
हजुर सर।
मैले यो सायद स्लाइड छिटो बनाउने सिलसिला उतापट्टिबाट मैले तान्दाखेरि त्यो भए नि हुन सक्छ। लिसनिङ स्पिकिङ म यसो ब्याक जान्छु है।
घनश्याम सरले देखाइसक्नु भयो यहाँ।
लिसनिङ टेस्ट 8, स्पिकिङ टेस्ट 8। रिडिङ राइटिङको कुरै छैन यसमा।
यस सरी, लिसनिङ र स्पिकिङ हुनुपर्ने, त्यहाँ स्पिकिङ होइन। मैले त्यो टेस्ट डेस्क्रिप्सनमा त लिसनिङ र स्पिकिङकै भयो है, यहाँ माथि चाहिँ उ भएछ माथि।
त्यसलाई यही मैले नबुझेर मैले बनाउँदा पनि यो मात्रै बनाएको छु र नि, लिसनिङ र स्पिकिङ मात्रै। हजुर थ्यांक यू सर।
अहिलेको कुरो पनि तर अहिले देव सरले देखाउनु भएको एभरेज मार्क्स गर्ने भन्ने यही छ। हेर्नु सर देव सर यहाँ हजुरले देखाउनु भएको थियो नि।
हजुर
4-8लाई ठ्याक्कै यहाँ यो कुरालाई अलिकति एक्सप्लेनेसन गरिदिनु सरलाई क्लियर हुन्छ यो जुन अहिलेको प्रोजेक्टको कुरोमा।
Internal assessment will be done as the part of teaching learning process. However, the record keeping for the record keeping purpose, the above mentioned number of tasks should be done at least once during the time frame of each terminal exam. कम्तीमा नि एक पटक चाहिँ लिनु पर्यो भन्छ हैन प्रत्येक टर्मिनलमा। And obtained marks should be recorded in portfolio. For example, the duration of first terminal examination, 5 listening and speaking tasks, 2 reading tasks and 2 writing tasks for specified above should be used as assess students' performance is the internal assessment. If more than once is done during a terminal, an average mark of each assessment area should be met. ल अब बढी गर्नु भएको छ भने तपाईले एभरेज मार्क राख्नु भन्ने कुरो गर्यो। यो पार्टिसिपेसनमा 4 मार्क्स नै राख्ने हो। अब 2-3टा ल्याछौं भने डिभाइड बाइ कतिवटा ल्याछौं हामीले त्यतिले डिभाइड गर्दै भइहाल्यो। यो सजिलै। यसमा केही छ र क्वेरीज साथीहरुको? छैन होला जस्तो लाग्छ।
सर जाउँ अगाडि जाउँ।
अगाडि जाउँ।
यो चाहिँ लिसनिङ र स्पिकिङ नै हो। यहाँ थोरै गल्ती भएको छ। यहाँ रिडिङ राइटिङ लेखेको छु नि मैले, यो लिसनिङ then it is speaking. त्यो चाहिँ थोरै त्यही त्यसैलाई मैले यो उ मात्रै गरेँ, बेसिकै स्लाइडलाई कपी गरेको थिएँ कि। ल यति गरेँ मैले। अब यो इन्टरनलको भयो, अब एक्सटर्नलको नि अलिकति सेयर गरौँ कि साथीहरूको बिचमा है। लेट मी शेयर सम आइडियाज रिगार्डिङ एक्सटर्नल एक्जामिनेसन। थोरै गाइडलाइनहरू चाहिँ यहाँ पनि छ है। पछि अब घनश्याम सरले पनि सेयर गर्नुभएको छ, हामी उपलब्ध गराउँला। करिकुलमहरू ग्रिडहरू यही छ। लेट मी शेयर द आइडियाज अबाउट एक्सटर्नल एसेसमेन्ट। इज इट शेयर्ड?
शेयर भइरहेछ सर।
भइरहेछ सर।
The final examination is based on written test which covers reading and writing skill. Grammar is incorporated in writing section. The test follows the following test specification chart. Reading 25 marks for 4 to 8. 4 देखि 8 सम्मको लागि है। The assessment of reading skill follows the following structure. Reading 1, one short reading text from the textbook with one type of comprehension question carrying 5 marks. Similarly, reading 2, one short reading text from the textbook with one type of comprehension question carrying 5 marks. Similarly, reading 3, one short reading text not given in the textbook with one type of comprehension question, 5 marks. Then reading 4, one short reading text not given in the textbook with 2 types of questions, 10 marks. Means 2 seen text, 2 unseen text. And the 4th unseen text should carry 10 marks. Text types for reading 3 and 4. For 3 and 4 means for unseen reading, the text may be story, timetable, menu, chart, calendar, notice, letter, news stories, brochure, biography, autobiography, and short essay. The length of the text of reading 3 and 4 should not exceed 250 and 300 words respectively. Means the word limit for reading 3 should be 250 words and for 4 300 words. Question types. The different types of questions should be true, false, fill in the gaps, multiple choice, matching, ordering, short question answer. Text types should be different for reading 1 and 2. For example, later in reading 1 and story in reading 2. Means different types of text should be asked in question number 1 and 2. Or reading 1 and reading 2. Type of text in reading 1 and 2 should not be repeated in reading 4 and 3 and 4 too. Then types of comprehension question. Literal comprehension 10 questions, reorganization 6 questions, then inference 6 questions, then evaluation and reflection 3 questions. Means lower order thinking from that literal comprehension and inference type of question, then reorganization and evaluation the higher order skill. From them 9 questions should be asked. The assessment of writing skill follows the following structure. For reading carrying 25 marks, then for writing 25 marks is given. The assessment of writing skill, the first one is punctuation. Means in question number 5 we generally ask punctuation carrying 10 punctuation errors. 5 marks should be given to punctuation. Then next one is guided writing. One task that may be paragraph, news story, description of table, charts, diagrams with some guidelines. 5 marks. One guided writing, one punctuation. Then next one is free writing. One task, personal or official letter or short essay carrying 10 marks, and grammar carries 5 marks. In this way, writing carries 25 marks. ल अब यो चाहिँ 4-8 को है सरी यो चाहिँ 6-8 को 4-5 मा चाहिँ यो अलिकति फरक छ फ्री राइटिङ गाइडेड राइटिङ 2 टाइप्स को छ गाइडेड राइटिङ 2टा छ र फ्री राइटिङ क्यारिङ 5 मार्क्स छ है गाइडेड राइटिङ 2 क्यारिङ 5 मार्क्स इच देन फ्री राइटिङ 1 क्यारिङ 5 मार्क्स त्यति छ यहाँ क्वेशन चाहिँ अलिकति बढी हुने भयो 4-5 मा चाहिँ गाइडेड राइटिङ 2टा सोध्ने भयो 6-7 मा 6-7-8 मा चाहिँ गाइडेड राइटिङ एउटा सोध्ने भयो त्यति मात्रै फरक हो 4-5 to 6-8 मा then next in grammar class 6 different types of grammatical items such as article preposition tense connectives comparative superlative negation and question common nouns modal verbs used to imperative they should be asked in question class 6 similarly for class 7 article preposition tense connectives comparative and superlative subject verb agreement similarly negation and question reported speech conditional sentence and modal verbs for grade 8 article preposition tense connectives they are the grammatical items then type of question there will be 10 multiple choice questions one question from each content for grade 6 and 7 for grade 6 and 7 we can ask multiple choice questions only but the type of questions for grade 8 will be given below reproduction type of questions should be asked for grade 8 it should cover tense, tag question, reported speech, voice question, and negation. 5 questions, each carrying 0.5 marks, 2.5 marks for reproduction, and multiple choice, individual sentence or the contextual passage. It should contain article, preposition, connective, conditional sentence, subject, verb, agreement. 5 different questions, each carrying 0.5 marks, 2.5 marks for multiple choice, and 2.5 marks for reproduction for grade 8 for grade 6 and 7 all multiple choice types of questions can be asked the writing task should not be similar that of reading text in the text given in the reading section that is note then next types of questions reproduction then multiple choice they are for grade 8 then for grade 6 and 7 only multiple choice 10 multiple choice questions should be asked from grammar section then there are some new ideas literal comprehension similarly inferential questions then next reorganization such type of questions should be asked भनेको छ है यो literal comprehension चाहिँ सामान्य टेक्स्ट बुझेर टेक्स्टमा सोझै उत्तर पाउने खालको क्वेशनहरु the question may start with what where when who यस्तोबाट आउने खालको क्वेशनहरु they are literal comprehension question यो lower order skill हो the ability to understand what a sentence is saying without analyzing it the ability to understand the literal meaning of words the ability to understand the literal meaning of sentence then inferential question चाहिँ अलि भित्र जानु पर्यो नि it explores answers to questions that begin with why and how अलि डिफिकल्ट होला हैन इन्फरेन्शियल क्वेशन यो नि लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन सँग मिल्दो जुल्दो हो तर अलिकता केही बढी थिंक गर्न पर्यो inferential comprehension is the ability to make valid inferences from the facts and information received or found in the text at this level you must read between the lines to understand the text in the reading material. It involves understanding the facts even if not explicitly stated in the reading material. There are different types of inferential questions. Then let's go to evaluative comprehension. Evaluative comprehension requires a deeper understanding of the topic or event. It involves analyzing and weighting an event or an author's intent, opinion, language, and style of the presentation. Then next one is reorganization. Reorganization comprehension is based on literal understanding of the reading material or event, then using information gained from various parts of the material or event and rearranging them into new patterns that integrate them into your idea for further understanding. Such type of comprehension questions should be managed in question. अब यो थोरै example छ जस्तै here is a text. Hi everyone, let me introduce myself. This is very easy text. The literal comprehension question may be like, where does Sagar come from? Then next, reorganization. How many members are there in Sagar's family? That is Amit instead of Amit. Sagar's family. How many members are there? The number is not mentioned here. After reading the text, the students should find the number of family member. Should find the number of family members from the text. Such type of question is reorganization. Then inference. Do you think that he has to speak his sister loudly? Why? What is the problem with his sister? His sister has a hearing difficulty. So such type of questions can be managed. Such type of questions should be managed according to our grid. Inferential questions are the questions where the answer is not explicitly stated in the text or information provided. Instead, the answer must be inferred or deduced based on the clues and prior knowledge. For example, what might happen if we continue to ignore climate change? Referential questions, on the other hand, are the questions where the answer can be found directly. If we can, that is like literal comprehension questions are referential question, and inferential question, we cannot find the answer explicitly in the text. That is all about what? Referential and inferential questions. ल यो चाहिँ एक्सटर्नल एक्जामिनेसन को लागि बनाउने क्वेशन मोडल थियो, त्यो अहिले म यहाँहरुसँग शेयर गर्ने. डु यु हैव एनी क्वेरीज रिगार्डिङ इट?
साथीहरु केही छ भने ह्यान्ड रेज गर्नु होला.
भन्नु है, यो क्वेशन संख्या चाहिँ यो अनुसार बनाउनु भन्छ. भोकाबुलरीलाई नै हामीले लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन रिअर्गनाइजेसन पट्टि नै राख्न पर्यो. यो उसमा चाहिँ 6-8 मा चाहिँ फेरि 9-10 मा गएपछि चाहिँ भोकाबुलरीलाई छुट्टै गरेको छ है. 5 नम्बरको भोकाबुलरी सोध्नुस् भनेको छ. फेरि त्यो चाहिँ सिमिलर अपोजिटमा नसोध्नुस्, त्यसलाई चाहिँ म्याचिङ आइटममा फिल इन द ब्ल्याङ्क्समा मात्रै सोध्नुस् भनेको छ. पहिला चाहिँ व्हाट इज द सिनोनिम अफ द वर्ड भनेर यसरी सोधिन्थ्यो. राइट द सिनोनिम्स अफ द, यसरी चाहिँ नसोध्नुस् भन्ने किसिमले अहिलेको ग्रिडले सजेस्ट गरेको छ. म अब यदि यसमा छैन भने 9-10 को ग्रिड पट्टि हजुरहरुलाई लैजान्छु. के छ सर म्यामहरुको जिज्ञासा?
कसैले पनि ह्यान्ड रेज गर्नु भएको छैन सर, सायद केही नभएर हो कि.
त्यसो भने म यो 9-10 पट्टि गएँ. यो अरु कुरा लगभग मिल्दोजुल्दो छ. यहाँ रिडिङ 1 अब त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो कतिको थियो? जम्मा 25 मार्क्स को थियो. अब यता 9-10 मा आएपछि चाहिँ रिडिङ 40 मार्क्स को छ. रिडिङ 1 फर्स्ट 5 मार्क्स, रिडिङ 2 10 मार्क्स, रिडिङ 3 10 मार्क्स, रिडिङ 4 15 मार्क्स. और टेक्स्ट टाइप for reading 3 and 4, story, notice, advertisement, produce guide, product guide. Similarly, letters, news stories, brochure, manuals, diary entry, biography, autobiography, essay, news, paper article, science article, then book or film review, and other label appropriate text. Such type of text should be asked under unseen reading, to unseen reading. Then next, total number of test items 40. Question types, true, false, fill in the gaps, multiple choice, matching or ordering, short question answer. There. Reading 4 should contain a test type for testing vocabulary. यो कुरो कुनले गर्दैन? 6-8 ले चाहिँ यो कुरो गर्दैन, तर 9-10 ले चाहिँ यो कुरो गर्छ है. रिडिङ 4 मा चाहिँ के हुनुपर्छ नि? It should contain a test type for testing vocabulary. त्यो कम्प्रिहेन्सन क्वेशन चाहिँ यो लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन, रिअर्गनाइजेसन, इन्फरेन्स र इभ्यालुएसन सबै कुरो खोज्छ यसले पनि. मात्र के खोज्दैन त्यो 4-8 को भन्दा फरक के छ यसमा टेस्टिङ भोकाबुलरी सोध्ने भन्छ है टाइप अफ कम्प्रिहेन्सन लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन 16 क्वेसन रिअर्गनाइजेसन 8 इन्फरेन्स 8 इभ्यालुएसन एन्ड रिफ्लेक्सन 3 अनि भोकाबुलरीको यो चाहिँ त्यहाँ दिएको छैन भोकाबुलरीको हामीले 5 मार्क्स राख्नुपर्ने हुन्छ किनकि हाम्रो रिडिङ कम्प्रिहेन्सनको 40 मार्क्स छ भोकाबुलरी अनिवार्य सोध्नुपर्ने भनेको छ त्यो चाहिँ 5 मार्क्सको अनसिन रिडिङ 2 मा it must contain vocabulary testing. Writing. The assessment of writing skill follows the following structure. Guided writing 1. Under guided writing 1, we can ask paragraph writing. Similarly, description of table, charts, diagrams, or set of instruction, recipe, menu, set of rules and regulation, advertisement, notices, etc. 5 marks. Number of word limit 100 words for the students. Similarly, guided writing 2, news story, skeleton story, message of condolence, message of congratulation, invitation letter, thank you letter, biography, it carries 5 marks. Number of words, same 100 words. Then free writing first, paragraph, under paragraph presenting view, opinion, experience, feeling, the paragraph of guided writing. In that, under that paragraph, we can give guidelines, but here it is free writing. So guidelines shouldn't be given for free writing first. Under this paragraph, we can ask the questions like presenting view, opinion, experience, feeling, etc. Similarly, leave application, job application, and dialogue. It carries 6 marks. Number of words, about 150 words. Then free writing 2, personal letter, short essay, diary, newspaper article, book review, film review, brochure, leaflet. It carries 8 marks. Number of words, about 200 words. Notes, organization, coherence, cohesion, subject matter, appropriateness, and correctness of language, a range of vocabulary and layout will be assessed in a writing section. The type of writing task should not be similar to any of the reading text given in the test paper. Test paper ma repeat hunनु पर्दैन यो सर म्यामहरुलाई थाहा छँदैछ. अब ग्रामर थोरै चेन्ज भएको छ अहिले भर्खरै दिएको ग्रिडमा सर म्यामहरुले हेर्नु भएको छ कि छैन. There are 14 different grammatical items. Article, preposition, tense, connectives, question tag, reported speech, voice, conditional sentence, subject verb agreement, interrogation and negation, causatives, modals, reflexive pronoun, and adjectives and adverb. From these grammatical items, we have to ask 6 reproduction types of question. These should reproduction or transformation. This should cover tense, question tag, reported speech, voice, interrogation, WH question, and negation. 6 questions carrying 1 mark each, 6 marks. Then multiple choice in contextual passage. This can contain the following areas of grammar: article, preposition, tense, question tag, voice, reported speech, connective, conditional sentence, subject, verb agreement, causative verb, modals, adjectives and adverbs, and relative pronouns. There are different grammatical items. We have to ask only 10 different types of grammatical items, each carrying 0.5 marks. Therefore, the total marks of multiple choice item 5 marks. Multiple choice item should contain 4 alternative choices. There should be 4 alternative choices in multiple choice question. यो भर्खरै आएको कुरा भयो. अब यो लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन को कुरा भयो. ल they are all about internal and external assessment. Do you have any queries regarding them? You can ask me. ल अब एकछिन छलफल गर्ने होला.
साथीहरुलाई तपाईलाई के जिज्ञासा छ क्वेशन राख्न सक्नुहुन्छ, एन्गेज गर्नु होला. ल आज साथीहरु अलि थपिलो हुन्छ.
बत्तीले नै अलिकति धोका दिइराछ के अरे.
आज अलिक लाइन गइराछ.
हामी कहाँ थिएन सर, म चाहिँ अर्को वैकल्पिक स्रोतमा कनेक्सन भइरहेको थिएँ.
बोल्नुस्
के गुड
अर्जुन सरलाई बोल्नु त.
Yes sir, good evening sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I want to ask one question regarding the grammatical items. What about the 9th class, sir? 9th class last year there was the different format, like a multiple choice item also of only 5 5 questions, 5 choices will be there and granted the 5 marks. And now it changed again. What about the 9 class? 9 class also, 9 and 10 both are same now.
That is not given in grade 10 specification grid. It is not clearly stated there. I want to share the specification grid of grade 10, sir. Let me see that.
Yeah, we have conducted first term already, but still there is the problem, sir.
Yeah.
That means we have got the questions from the Pearson, and the questions was in different format.
Yeah. That
means
is the
different means like five only. We have to choose only. Our students, they have to choose only 5 questions from the alternative, means multiple choice, and one mark for each question.
You are right, sir. Most of the books are written in that way too. Practice books. Most of the practice books are written in that way too. But the specification grade, it came later. Nearly a month ago. They uploaded the file. The file suggests look there, sir. I am going to show you that. Grammar, it covers 11 marks. Article, preposition, question tag, then so on. 14 different grammatical items. Yeah.
That I have seen already. Yeah.
Have you seen my?
I got the idea. Yeah.
But in Nepali, there is note there. It should be applied in grade 9 too. We can find such statement in the specification grid of Nepali grade 10, but nothing is written in English. That is the problem, sir. Nothing.
That's why what should we do now?
Then
that is the problem.
Different pattern for grade 9 and different pattern for grade 10. I think so.
That means we have to follow the last year pattern for 9.
9
and this pattern for 10.
Pattern for 10. I think so.
That means
not clearly stated anywhere, sir.
So still we are in confusion. That means.
Yeah. And
so what should we do, sir, for further? Means upcoming days for 9 class. On 10 class, I got it. We have to follow the same one.
It is clear
like the
for
previous,
it is clear for grade 10 because the model question is also the same, but no information is written for grade 9 in this specification grid.
So we should have to follow the last year patterns.
Last year
for 9
until they give the information.
They will not. Yeah. So we have to follow the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Other queries?
Yeah, that was in confusion because we have conducted one exam also in same format.
In confusion, sir, for all. Because nothing is written for grade 9. So
and
we
that
we have to follow the pattern given in grade 9. Similarly, for grade 10, new another pattern is given there.
That's why last year the course changed of 9 and the same pattern was there. Previously, there used to be the same pattern for 9 and 10. And by thinking that those who prepare the question for our Pearson Lomjung, they also were in confusion, and same pattern of 10 also given, and we conducted the same format. Now for second term, we have to suggest to follow this pattern for 10 class. That means.
Okay, sorry. I will contact CDC too. Then I will inform you about that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, sir.
नमस्कार म चाहिँ यता हाम्रो भक्तपुरको इडन गार्डन स्कुलबाट लगभग एक्जाम कोअर्डिनेटरको रूपमा काम गरिरहेको धेरै लामो समय भयो। मैले के कुराहरू सोध्न चाहे सर, जस्तो यो सिडिसीकै कुराहरूमा फर्मेटहरुकै कुराहरूमा हाम्रो कति कुराहरू चाहिँ नयाँ अपडेट भइरहेछ जुन तपाईहरुले देखाइरहनु भएको छ नि अहिले।
हजुर हजुर।
त्यसमा पनि हामीले सिडिसी को जुन सिलेबसहरुमा सिडिसी को वेबसाइटमा गरेको हेर्यौ भने कति डिफरेन्टहरु पाउँछौ के।
हजुर।
त्यसको लागि के गर्न सकिन्छ होला सर?
यो त यसो हो नि सर, लेटेस्ट मोडल कुन चाहिँ हो त्यो चाहिँ फलो गर्ने हो हामीले।
त्यसलाई लेटेस्ट
गरेको छ नि।
त्यसलाई फलो
लेटेस्ट
गर्ने
मोडल जुन जस्तो मैले चाहिँ यसमा 6, 7, 8 को बढीको कुरा जोड्न खोजेँ। जस्तो हामीले 6, 7, 8 को त्यसमा मोडलमा हेऱ्यो भने जस्तो सबै मोडल क्वेसनहरू 6 मा मात्रै दिएको छ के। 6 क्लासको मात्रै दिएको छ, 7, 8 को लगभग मेन्सनै गरेको छैन कतै पनि।
इङ्ग्लिसको आएको छैन, अरूको त 8 को आएको छ सर। 8 को
त्यही त
थोरै हजुरलाई म थोरै सेयर गर्छु है सर। एउटा मैले एउटा डकुमेन्ट छ के मसित भर्खरै यो चाहिँ क्वेसन स्ट्यान्डर्डाइज्ड क्वेसन कसरी सेट गर्ने भन्ने विषयमा बनेको एउटा डकुमेन्ट छ, म त्यो सेयर गर्छु है।
हुन्छ सर, हुन्छ।
आइटम डेभलपमेन्ट स्किल फर स्ट्यान्डर्डाइज्ड टेस्ट भन्ने छ है। यो चाहिँ एनइबीले निकाल्यो है, हेर्नुहोस् है। यसमा यो 8 कक्षाको बनाउँदाखेरि मल्टिपल चोइस क्वेसनहरू, अब यो लिटरल कम्प्रिहेन्सन, रिअर्गनाइजेसन, इन्फरेन्सको कुरा, इभ्यालुएसनको कुराहरू छ नि, यो कुराहरू कसरी हाल्ने भन्ने कुराहरू यसले धेरै कुरा दिएको छ। जस्तै एमसिक्यू बनाउँदा कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ यहाँ छ। जस्तै मल्टिपल चोइसमा हामीले 3टा मात्रै हाल्थ्यौँ नि त एमसिक्यूमा, अब चाहिँ यसले 4वटा हाल भन्छ एमसिक्यू है।
मैले यसै विषयमा एउटा कुरा सरहरूलाई सेयर गर्न चाहे।
हजुर।
जस्तो म्याथको म चाहिँ म्याथ विषय पढाउने हो। अनि त्यसपछि म चाहिँ प्राय जस्तो सूर्यविनायक नगरपालिकाले अर्गनाइज गरेको क्वेसन मेकिङहरूमा म गइ नै रहेको छु कि बिएलईको क्वेसन मेकिङमा। अनि क्वेसन मेकिङ गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हाम्रो जुन 4 सम्मको कुरा गरौँ, 4 सम्मको कुरामा 8 क्लासको क्वेसनमा जस्तो यो हाम्रो एलसीएम लिनेवाला जो रेसनल एक्सप्रेसनवाला 2टा एक्सप्रेसन बाहेक 3टा एक्सप्रेसनवाला चाहिँ सोध्न पाइँदैन भनेर हाम्रो बकाइदा बुकमा लेखेको छ नि त
हजुर,
हाम्रो सिडिसीको। तर यो अरूको नगरपालिकाको हामीले हेऱ्यौँ भने त त्यसमा चाहिँ 3 टाइपको क्वेसनहरू पनि 3टा उको क्वेसनहरू पनि सोधिरहेको हुन्छ कि। अनि हामीले यसमा कन्फ्युज हुन्छौँ कि सर। अब सिडिसीले चाहिँ हेलो के अरे सिडिसीले चाहिँ हामीलाई क्वेसन चाहिँ फर्मेटमा यसरी बना भनेर भन्छ, तर क्वेसन आउँदा फाइनल टर्मको क्वेसन आउँदा चाहिँ त्यो ठ्याक्कै त्यसरी नमिलेर आएको केसहरू पनि छ कि। त्यो मैले अघि भर्खर अल्जेब्रिक एक्सप्रेसनको कुरा गरेँ। अल्जेब्रिक एक्सप्रेसन हामीले 2टा एक्सप्रेसन बाहेक 3टाको सोध्न पाइँदैन भनेर भन्छ। त्यही पनि कतिपय इक्जामहरूमा सोधिरहेको हुन्छ कि। अनि हामीले पढाउँदाखेरि चाहिँ सिडिसीको मोडल हेरेर पढाउँदाखेरि पनि कति कुराहरू चाहिँ त्यहाँ नपुगेको हो कि, अथवा त्यो जसले क्वेसन बनाउनुहुन्छ अरूतिरको त्यसमा चाहिँ ज्ञान नपुगेको हो कि, अथवा त्यो जसले त्यो क्वेसन फाइनलाइज गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यो नलेज नपुगेको हो कि के हो र सर? यो
त्यही हो सर। त्यो त बनाउनेले विचार गर्नु भएन।
हामीले त पढाउँदाखेरि त अब त्यो हामीलाई चाहिँ सिडिसीको फर्मेट अनुसार जस्तो 2टा एक्सप्रेसन पढाए पुग्छ। एचसिएफ एलसिएमको कुराहरूमा पनि 2टा एक्सप्रेसन मात्रै पढाए पुग्छ भन्ने कुराहरू हामीले पनि त्यो बच्चाहरूलाई त्यही सिकाउँछौँ। सिडिसीको यस्तो छ, यसरी गर्ने हो। अब कतिपय बुकहरूमा अलिकति बढी नै दिएको हुन्छ। त्यो नपढाइदिँदाखेरि कहिलेकाहीँ त्यस्तै खालको क्वेसन आइदिन्छ कि इक्जाममा। अनि हामीलाई त यो टिचरले पढाउनै नजान्ने जस्तो भन्ने खालको त बुझियो नि त।
होइन हो, सरले भन्नुभएको कुरो त हो। तर कस्तो हुन्छ भने लोकल लेभलमा त्यस्तो हुन्छ, स्ट्यान्डर्डाइज टेस्ट जस्तै एसइओहरूमा त त्यो समस्या आउँदैन नि सर, आएको छ र?
होइन, एसइओमा चाहिँ आएको छैन सर। मैले त्यही भएर चाहिँ 8 क्लासको चाहिँ कुरा गरेँ कि।
हजुर, बिएलईमा नि सायद त्यस्तो समस्या अलिक कमै होला, हुनुपर्ने।
हामीले यही